So which speaker's better, people? The Wave 8 or the Everse 8? We're gonna find out today. Now, one thing I'm not gonna do with this video is speculate on looks. I mean, I think that's a total subjective thing. It's up to you. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? I like the look of the EV. I think it's nice and clean. And when I first saw the Wave 8, I was like, I don't know. That looks different. But I've had it for like a month or two now, and it's growing on me. I don't hate it. So it's kind of growing. I kind of like the look. I think it's unique, right? Or at least it's, you know, it looks like kind of retro, but like I like that. Not a lot of speakers look like that anymore. Everyone's doing a full grill. So, you know, but see, look at that. I said I wasn't going to talk about looks, and then I just talked about looks. So let's start with the basics. They're both 8-inch battery-powered speakers. They both have 8-inch subwoofers, obviously, and they both have 1-inch tweeters. Now, one big difference between these two speakers is their tweeters. The EV has a titanium dome tweeter, while the AlphaTheta has a soft dome tweeter. The titanium dome tweeter is something you're really familiar with because a lot of PA systems have that. It's kind of the standard. I mean, it's great for high volume. You have great sound out of it. A lot of speakers, probably most of the speakers you use, have a titanium dome. AlphaTheta did something a little different with their soft dome tweeter. See, typically soft dome tweeters are used in like studio monitors or hi-fi stereo systems, you know, for surround sound for movies and things like that, because they have a rich, more warm sound, and the clarity, like the detail you get out of a soft dome tweeter is insane. But it's not typically used in like a professional PA system. It's usually just a studio monitor, something like that, which is interesting. But I'm not gonna lie, the clarity, like the sound out of this, unreal. Now let's compare some basic specs on these speakers. So although this Everse is way tinier, he's packing on paper, if you know what I'm talking about. The Everse 8 is a 400 watt speaker, while the Wave 8 is only 110 watts. The SPL, 121 for the Everse 8 and 114 for the Wave 8. Now I could totally see how you see that on paper and you're like, oh God, that's a big difference. Why would I ever buy the Wave 8? And I feel you, but I've tested these like side by side. I've used both of them out. I've bumped them to like till they peaked like max volume, and they both are loud. They both are just as loud. Like it's very similar. Like it's not 400 watt, 110 watt. This one's supposed to have the bigger wiener. And speaking of sound and loudness, right? The Everse 8 is very loud, but I will say that when I got this thing really loud, like when I was cranking like the last 15-20% of volume it had, it seemed to kind of push all the volume to the highs and mids and not a lot to the sub. Whereas this, at max volume, when you're cranking this to the gods, it still has fantastic low end. Like it's still more of a fuller sound. I don't know how or why, to be honest with you. I'm not that smart, but that's just what I noticed when I was cranking these. And as far as size, you can clearly see that the Everse 8 is way smaller than the Wave 8, okay? About, I don't know, half its size. This thing weighs about 16 pounds, 17 pounds, and this comes in at a whopping 28 pounds. But it's not that, I mean, it really doesn't feel that heavy to me, but I guess I'm used to like, you know, my bigger speakers and stuff like that. You know, it's a speaker at the end of the day. But they didn't realize that it's gonna weigh and be bigger, so of course they put some tires and a little, you know, handle so you can roll it like a suitcase. So I guess that's convenient, but I've never used that, honestly. When I brought this out, I literally only just carried it because it fits right by your side. You got a top handle and it's really not that bad. So I don't know, but definitely something to consider if you got a bad back or weak arms or both. Now, as far as their batteries, they each take about 4 to 5 hours-ish to charge, sometimes longer. It depends on a lot of different things too, but usually with me at my house, it takes about like 4 or 5 hours till I get a full charge. And with the EV, it's coming in at around 12 hours of like, you know, with moderate volume. But if you're at max volume, it says it'll go like 8. So if you're just cranking this thing, it'll crank for 8 hours straight, which is pretty nuts. This, on the other hand, lasts about 8 hours. So EV is the winner when it comes to battery life. But if you're using these speakers for ceremonies and cocktail hour like I am, they are both fantastic because you can charge them in the beginning of the weekend. They'll last the entire weekend, and then you charge them afterwards. You don't have to charge them every single day. Literally, run them the whole weekend and they're good. I've never had either die on me. Knock on polycarbonate. Now, of course, both of these speakers have Bluetooth, and I tested that out. I have the Omnius Duo here, and the Omnius Duo has an option where you can use Bluetooth as an output. So you can hook up to any speaker, any Bluetooth speaker, like something from Best Buy you can hook up and DJ with. And when I was testing it, there was a noticeably big difference with latency compared to the two. I believe this has an older version of Bluetooth. I can't find anywhere on the internet what version it has, but the Wave 8 has 2.5 LE, which is the newest one. So your latency on this is about 40 milliseconds, where this is closer to like 200 milliseconds. So harder to DJ through Bluetooth. Now I get it. Who's gonna scratch and mix and all that via Bluetooth? I mean, you're really not gonna do that. So, I mean, take it for what you will. I'm just trying to be thorough here, people, okay? Just food for thought. These are the facts. Don't hate me for the facts. You're hating me for the I can already tell. Just finish the video before you go to the comment section. Now, another cool and very handy dandy feature about both of these speakers is that they're IP rated. So they're water resistant. They can go in the rain and it'll be fine. Now, this one is IP43, while this one is IPX4. Let me explain what this means. So IP stands for International Protection. It's basically a rating that's given on two different categories. The first digit, right? So this is IP43. The 4 is how much it can handle shit getting thrown at it, right? Like objects hitting it. I don't know why, but it's literally, look it up, I swear, okay? So that's the first number. The second number is how waterproof it is. And these numbers are out of 6, right? So it's the best out of 6. And the higher the number, the better the protection. So this is IP43. So it's a 4 against objects and 3 against water. This one is IPX4. The X means it wasn't tested at all with objects, so it doesn't even have a rating. It's just X. They didn't test it. And the 4 means it's 4 out of 6 when it comes to water. So when it comes to water resistance, this one has better water resistance based on its IP rating by 1 point. So the Wave 8 wins in the water category. And keep in mind with the Everse 8, for it to be waterproof, you have to put this bad boy on top of this. And that makes it waterproof because it covers up all the stuff. Whereas the Wave 8 is designed in a way where everything's kind of tucked in so the water can't get to it. But I know what you're thinking. The Wave 8 has an X rating for objects. So we're gonna have to test it. I mean, we gotta make sure it's, can handle some shit. I'd definitely give it a 4. I'd say it's just as sturdy as the Everse 8. So, if it were tested, I'd say it would be an IP44. That's just me. You tell me. I don't know. What do I know? Now, as far as ease of use, I think they're both really easy to use. They're just a little different. So the Wave 8's more traditional, right? You got a regular volume knob. There's no screen on it at all. And basically, this is to hook up to Bluetooth. This is to add another speaker. This is to hook up to the SonicLink, the wireless technology. You could set the channels here, all that. And then as far as sound, instead of having like a DSP and being able to set your mid, treble, bass, all that stuff, you basically have modes. So you have music low cut, flat, low cut, vocal, and you can put it in a subwoofer mode, which turns it into a subwoofer, which is crazy. So if you have multiple of these, this could be a subwoofer, and then you could put another Wave 8 on top, and that could be, your regular speaker, and then literally have a full stack, completely battery powered, completely wireless, which is pretty nuts. Then in here, underneath the waterproof cover, is where all your plugs are, if you're gonna use it with a plug, right? Because again, this is obviously wireless. And you have all the standard jacks. You have an 1/8 inch aux, you have 2 XLR 1/4 inch combo jacks for line ins. You also have a 1/4 inch mic input with, the low, the high, and an echo, which is cool. And then you have a mic attenuator built in. And you also have your standard XLR out. So if you want to, link a speaker with wires for some reason, or, your videographer, that sort of thing. So you have that standard out. And there's also a USB-C 5-volt output where you can charge your cell phone, charge your iPad, which is super, super convenient. Now I just raised her up, turn her on the side. You have this little waterproof compartment, and this is where your SonicLink transmitter lives, right? So basically there's another USB-C here. That's how it charges. So it's literally charging it right now, or it could charge your cell phone or whatever else. But this stays in here if it's your second speaker. So how the SonicLink works is, let's say you have 2 of these, right? The first speaker, that transmitter stays with you in the mixer. It hooks up via RCA right here to your mixer, and that transmits to the first speaker. The second speaker will have this transmitter as well, but that'll stay in here and link to the other one, and that's how they all link. And then basically, you link them. If you want them to be stereo, you just have a button up here where you can select left or right, and then you can literally make one left, one right, and have a true stereo wireless sound. And I can't stress enough how good SonicLink works. I've done extensive tests. I've tried it at bars with 150 cell phones, people all over, across the whole bar. I've tried it as far as 50, 60 feet outside, outdoors, and it doesn't cut out. No problem. In a bar, I probably had it, I don't know, 25, 30 feet away from me, indoors, bunch of cell phones, everything. It bumped all night, like no problemo, literally no problemo. And there's literally little to no latency. Like you can't even tell. It didn't mess me up at all because I used it as a remote speaker. So I had a speaker by me and then it was on the other side. Literally there wasn't any bounce back, nothing. It's unreal technology. I can't stress enough how amazing this is. So now on the EV side of things, if you know EV, it's just like every other EV you used. I mean, you have the screen back here, really easy to use. You click the knob in and then you could do all kinds of stuff. I mean, you could dial in your EQ, you have your main level, obviously. You have your mode, right? Like if you're doing a club, speech, music, the location, which is pretty cool. So you select like tripod, or if you're using it as a monitor, all that, it kind of changes the DSP, which is like really, really cool. And then also it works with an app. So like you download the app, you link it via Bluetooth, and then you can control all the volumes, everything right on the app wirelessly, which is super, super clutch, especially when you're dealing with different rooms and all that stuff. So I really like all that. Your standard inputs, right? XLR 1/4 inch combo jacks for input 1, input 2. You got an XLR output for your videographer and all that good stuff. 1/8 inch stereo in aux. You have a 5-volt charger here, so you can also charge your cell phone and all that stuff, same as with the Wave 8. You have a 1/4 inch foot switch. This is easy buttons to pair Bluetooth and all that. And the really cool part about the speaker is you have a DC power out here, and they make a cord for every possible microphone receiver. So if you're looking for a very simplified ceremony setup, you can basically power your microphone receiver, go up here. They have an accessory where it comes up top here. The receiver is powered from this battery. Everything's all in one, so you're completely wireless. If you use Bluetooth for your iPad or whatever you're doing your music with, there's literally no wires. So you just toss this up and that's it, and you're good to go. But the limitations is it's only one mic, you know what I mean? So if you're like me and you use more than one mics, that's not really gonna work for you. So in conclusion, let's answer the question, which speaker is better? And there's no tomfoolery on this channel, okay? I don't sugarcoat nothing. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I think and that's it, all right? There's no, oh, it just depends on you. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it, but like, this is what I think. Number one, as far as volume, they're both just as loud, okay? They both crank. They both sound crazy. Like it's amazing how loud these things get for as small as they are. As far as sound quality, I think the Wave 8 sounds better. Has more low end, it's more clear, more crisp. Definitely my favorite on this side, but the EV does sound good too. I'm not saying it sounds like shit, I'm just saying the Wave 8 sounds better. As far as the battery, the EV lasts 50% longer, which is definitely substantial. So I really like the 12-hour runtime on this bad boy. But the major difference between these two speakers are two very unique features that each of them have that no other speaker company is doing right now. The EV has a DC out where you can power a mic receiver, which is crazy. So if you do ceremonies with one microphone, you can literally use this speaker, power your receiver, put the receiver on top, and you're good to go. Wirelessly, like easiest ceremony setup ever. Clutch. The Wave 8, on the other hand, has the SonicLink technology, the first ever SonicLink virtually zero latency, where you can hook up the transmitter to your mixer and wirelessly transmit to this. So it's a true wireless speaker. So with all that being said, for me, the winner is the Wave 8. I think it sounds better, and just having that SonicLink technology just takes everything to another level. I can have a wireless speaker whenever I need it. Let's say I need a filler speaker for another room where there's tables for a wedding. Piece of cake, bam, SonicLink. Let's say I need a filler speaker for a bar I'm playing across the bar over there so they can hear me on the other side of the bar and I don't have to blast over here so I can keep my sound more even. Bam, SonicLink. For my ceremonies, I'm gonna set up my whole big ceremony setup and then have the speaker over in the front where everyone can hear it perfectly. Bam, SonicLink. And with ceremonies specifically, you gotta remember, if you just use one mic, this is a great, convenient way. Like you really can't beat it because it'll power the receiver and it's just an all-in-one setup. It's a piece of cake. It'll take you 2 seconds to set up and it'll work great. But for me, I have a more robust ceremony setup. I use multiple mics. Sometimes I use 3-4 mics in a ceremony. I'll do a clip on the officiant. I'll do a clip on the groom. I might have a mic on the side on a stand for readers and things like that. So I have to have a little rack with all the mics and the distro and an external mixer and all that stuff. Like I have a more robust ceremony setup. So this powering a mic receiver doesn't help me. Like it's only one mic. Where's my other mic? You know what I mean? I need other mics. So that's why this is gonna be my new ceremony speaker moving forward. It just works with my workflow and my setup. And that's it, people. That's my final thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read them. And thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next one.